Hi everyone. Today we did get a strong continuation here in the pre-market and into the session, continuing higher above all of the levels here. 604, 54 was that level. The next one is 610, 78. Can we get above that level? We'll take a quick look at all of the charts and data as we head into tomorrow's session. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. In news today, we had Powell emphasizing the need to continue to fight inflation. The inflationary problem is what they are focused on. We've been talking about that for a while, but he did emphasize that once again in his testimony. He wants to continue to be cautious here, and he is a little bit concerned about the antagonism from Donald Trump. And of course, he is still very concerned about the tariff impact on prices. We've been talking about that. I really don't believe there's going to be a huge impact there, but still remains to be seen. And Fed Powell also wants to see what that looks like. He said keeping inflation in check is what he expects policymakers to do until they have a better understanding about the uncertainty around tariffs. And for now, inflation is still above the 2% target, and he continues to ignore all of the rhetoric here from Donald Trump. So really no movement. I don't expect anything major out of what he says to Congress. And so far, we really haven't seen much here. Moving over to fear and greed, 56, up from a 56. Momentum still in fear, absolutely crazy. This should be in neutral at a bare minimum. I would say it's probably in greed at this point, but no movement. Strength, still no movement. Breadth, still very little movement here today. Fear, still on the put call ratio, and then you can see volatility turning back down makes sense. Safe haven demand stepping back up there, and then junk bonds not moving at all, back into neutral from greed. Moving over to the economic calendar, you can see really not much for today. Consumer confidence quite a bit worse than the expectation, worse than the previous number. 2-year note auction came down quite a lot there from the previous number, so yields pulling back makes sense with bonds going higher, bonds still looking very bullish. New home sales for tomorrow, and then you have the continuation here of Fed Powell's testimony. Not expecting a whole lot out of that, like we just talked about. And then we have the PCE data, GDP data for Thursday, and then the actual core and headline PCE numbers that the Fed likes to watch. Previous number was 2.5. This is what they want to see come down to that 2 number. Can we get closer to that on the Friday? I think that'll be interesting. Moving over to the charts, looking at the S&Ps here on the weekly, you can see we are right at that consolidation high now, looking for that next level. 609.59 is your all-time high. Momentum bullish, RSI back to bullish here. Everything looks really, really strong. Looking at the daily chart, you can see the gap up and the rally through that 604 level. 609 seems like it's in range. Momentum stepping back to bullish, RSI stepping back to bullish. Everything says strong breakout here above this consolidation range. Looks like we're retesting the wick highs here from the 11th, but you can see came in, broke through here, paused at it, retested, continuation very strong. Everything looking for 609.59. Short term, just a little bit overbought. Wouldn't expect anything out of that. Very powerful to the upside. Seems like markets only want to go higher. Moving over to the Tasty charts here, you can see we did get through that trailing stop. 605.79 was that trailing stop. And then we did continue a little bit higher. Weird wick movement there at the end of the session, but now we're back into bullish conditions across every metric here. So 4 hour, that was the one we were watching. You can see hourly chart was bullish yesterday, continuation here today. That's got to be some fake price action there. Volume coming through at the end of the session was a little bit of a sell at the end of the session. Might be interesting. Wouldn't expect that to hold by any means. This is a clean breakout above all of the consolidation range. So everything looks really, really strong. Staying above that 8 EMA, want to see that continue here. That level is 606.34. If it does pull back, as long as the 21 EMA holds, that's in good shape. And then your trailing stop there, 602.69 is that next level. So you could pull back a fair amount before continuing higher, but expecting this to hold. Moving over to the NASDAQ, same thesis as everything else. Breaking out above this wick here, breaking out above the level 538.28. That was the level we were watching yesterday. Pushed through that level here today. Momentum and RSI, everything back to bullish conditions. After this small pullback, I thought we were going to break down here. Ended up not being able to get below 523.24. So either way, bullish, gap up, held this level in here, held the trends in here. Let's go ahead and extend that out. Pretty much in line here, just continuing to watch this zone. Either way, everything is strong. 539.28 is the level. As long as we hold above that, we are likely to continue to some more all-time highs. Moving over to the 1 hour chart here for the Qs on the Tasty charts, you can see that 8 EMA continuing to be support. 539.28 continues to hold, even with a little bit of selling action in the after hours. Everything is still bullish conditions. Trailing stop 531.94, quite a bit lower from current price. And then looking at that 4-hour chart, really strong here. Continuation through to that second ATR band, expecting that to go to the third ATR band. That would be 543.60, expecting to get there. Held this bullish condition here, got a step up, continuation expected over the next couple days. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow. The Russell did gap up and rally to that next level, 214.79. Did pull back slightly from there, but I would expect it to push through there here. You can see the test of the 200. It's very slight pullback, big continuation to there, expecting it to go through. Next level would be 218.13, and then looking at the Dow, gap and go through that 426.20 level. 432.78 is that level. We're right at the high from the wick on the 11th. Did struggle a little bit there, but I would expect it to continue through there. Either way, everything does look really powerful after the continuation here today. Moving over to the Mag 7, gapped up in doji. Not as strong here as I kind of thought that it might be, considering how strong everything else looked, but doji candle here. Can we get the continuation up to this consolidation high? Probably need to add a level here. Looking at that level here, 330.67 is the level. I'm going to give that the consolidation high. I'll probably add one here at the wick high back from the 17th of December, but for now, 330.67. Can we get there? I think we can. Momentum swinging back to bullish, RSI swinging back to bullish. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple really tried to go higher, and then it just rejected down 0.6. Just cannot seem to get out of this consolidation range. Still don't love it. The structure is a little bit bullish, but I just would not buy into this here. My gut says this is going to break down, but right now this is a consolidation with no clear direction. And then Microsoft gapped and dojied very strong, super overbought, momentum still bullish. Moving over to Tesla and NVDA, you got Tesla pulling back really powerfully from that 355.03 level, just could not get above it, down 2.35% after being up 8% before. Momentum still bullish, RSI still bullish. The support is 336.67. Does it test that level and then continue higher? We'll see. NVIDIA very strong, 2.5% higher, momentum bullish, RSI bullish, headed towards your all-time highs there around 149.65. Can it get all the way to the 153 area? That remains to be seen, but I still believe we're going to go to that 149.65 level. Moving over to staples and discretionaries, basically unchanged on staples. No surprises there. And then discretionaries did go a little bit higher, got through that 215.06 level, couldn't get to 219.18, but we're right at this consolidation high. Can we get that swing through? That remains to be seen. Moving over to breadth. Breadth did show a little bit of a reversal here. Don't love to see this. You can see through wicks in both directions, hit that key level 68.14, and then immediately rejected to absolutely unchanged 0.00 on the day. Very rare that you see breadth unchanged on the day, completely flat, but that's what we got here on 20-day breadth. Momentum still says this is a little bit bullish. Could just be kind of an initial test of the zone. Maybe we do get another push through here, but this has been really sideways choppy. Really no conviction. Same on 50-day. This is technically a lower high, potentially. Also completely unchanged on 50-day breadth. So not what you would want to see if this was a healthy rally, which is, again, very concerning to me. The momentum still stepping to bullish. RSI still downtrending here. Don't love that. Would like to see something more aggressive here like this rally. This is clear divergence on breadth. So again, watching this closely, and I would argue this is slightly bearish here. Moving over to the dollar continues to fall here, but it is starting to slow. You can see this kind of consolidation, grinding price action lower. Through a wick to the low from the 12th and 13th, and then we found a little bounce there. Do we find another bounce here potentially? Momentum bearish, RSI bearish. I still think this is probably going to go to 96.85, but it could absolutely hold at this consolidation low. The low from back here as well, mid-April. Again here, current price, and again here at current price, looking for that 99.83 area. Moving over to bonds. Bonds were the big buy. We've been talking about it. Buying bonds over the last couple days. Momentum bullish. Big continuation through here. 96.51 broke. Headed towards 97.69. Got some trend resistance in there as well. Either way, looks really nice there on J&K. TLT also having a nice move. 0.73. Still believe this is going to 89. Still believe this is ultimately going to $100. Momentum bullish. RSI bullish. This has been giving a ton of opportunities to buy in. Hopefully you're taking some of that. Moving over to the VIX. The VIX gapped down and fell back into this range here, 1740. We did not end up getting that move into that 28 area. Either way, momentum a little bit bearish, RSI a little bit bearish. We'll see if this zone ends up holding or not. Is it going to bounce from here? Is it going to cut through back down to this trend here around the 16 area? Either way, right now this is a little bit bearish, so that means equities should be a little bit more bullish over the next couple days. Moving over to my accounts, I put on pretty much everything bullish here. You can see I put on shares again. I rolled out these covered calls to 520 for $30 credit. So the max profit there is 550. Can we get there? That's another $10 higher from here over the next 50 days or so. Either way, got the shares, got the calls at 520, plenty of protection. If we do end up getting a bit of a reversal, I can always take the shares off. Of course, I got squeezed on the calls, so don't love that. Either way, back into a bullish position, and then looking at the Russell, made money on that. Did put on puts for tomorrow and the next day here, 514 and 513. Have enough money in that account now to do 2 of these. We'll see if that continues to be the case, but for now, trying to play with a little bit of Russell contracts. The Russell does look very strong, and it's not as extended as everything else, so we'll see. Either way, $1.40 credit. Want to see this continue to rally here. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of Jay Powell's commentary today. Do you think he's focused on the right things? Is he too slow on the trigger? Is he overly concerned with tariffs? Or does any of it matter since the economy seems to continue to hum along with no issues? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.